Well, as always, when breaking news happens, when we breaking it down, when it comes to the NFL free agency period, your boy G. Bush got you covered. The Browns bring in one of the most intriguing prospects I've seen thus far. We've had the Kenny Pickett signing. I don't think the Kenny Pickett signing meant much. We'll get to one Cornelius Lucas, another, I guess, depth piece. But this is the first time that when I'm seeing right now with the Cleveland Browns that they signed a piece that that I'm really interested in. I think can be somebody that could be a rotational piece. They bring in Joe Tryon out of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, play for the Washington Huskies. He was a former first-round pick, and I'm going to tell you why in this episode of the Ultimate Brown / breaking news with the free agency, why Joe Tryon actually could be a guy that we actually could find some stuff and really move around. I got some stuff off the internet talking about from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, what he looks like, what his profile is, and we'll break it all down. I also got some Nick Chubb news. What type of deal can Nick Chubb come back on? So we got a lot of stuff we're going to get to. Make sure you guys get in here. And this is this episode of The Ultimate Browns. Welcome on in. Listen, this is a show that never ends. It feels like we was just at UCSS. What we gonna do every time they drop a name, we coming with the breaking news. So right now, Browns got some breaking news. They signed edge rusher Joe Tryon for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What I did is I went and got some clips for you guys to see what people are saying in Tampa Bay about Joe Tryon, what his analysis was coming out of Washington. He was an edge rusher, former first-round pick for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 2021. And let's go ahead and get right off into this, man, because we got a lot of stuff to get to as well. We want to get your opinions as well, give you the opportunity to give your opinion on each one every one of these topics that we get into. So we got a lot to get to, so let's go ahead and start this right now. Let's go and start with this. This was broken by Jordan Schultz earlier today. Sources say the Browns are signing outside linebacker / edge rusher Joe Tryon-Shoyinka to a 1-year, $4.7.5 million deal. The former first-round pick recorded 15 sacks in 4 seasons with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So when you look at this, he fits the part. He has the size. He has a little pass rush ability. And the reason I'm intrigued by this is because he got log jam a little bit down there in Tampa Bay. They mixed him between outside linebacker. He really wasn't strictly an edge rusher. He strictly wasn't an outside linebacker, and I felt like they got into a little bit of a situation where they didn't know where they wanted to play the guy. So let's go ahead and read some of the bio and different stuff behind Joe Tryon-Shoyinka. And this is from Yahoo.com. Cleveland assigned former Tampa Bay Buccaneer outside linebacker Joe Tryon-Shoyinka to a 1-year deal, a league source confirmed from the Akron Beacon Journal. The deal is reported by Fox Sports' Jordan Schultz and is worth $4.75 million. We got into that. Tryon-Shoyinka, who turns 26, so he's a young guy. Notice the correlation between trying to get younger. I would rather, and I think the Cleveland Browns, what they're doing is, if they're going to get guys that are just going to be, found like depth pieces, guys that they're going to try to bring in to kind of fill some of those roster holes, they've shown you that they're going to try to do that with younger players. And, we learned that with Kenny Pickett. He's a younger type guy, former first-round pick. So, again, today, when they're looking to fill holes with the defensive line, they go get Tryon-Shoyinka, who's 26. As of April 30th, so he's not even 26 yet. So he'll turn 26. So he's a younger type player that has some ability and still some untapped potential. And you would always rather fill those holes with younger guys than older guys. So let's take a look at what they're still talking about. He was a former first-round pick in 2021. out of University of Washington. While he played outside linebacker in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 3-4 scheme, he will provide help off the edge in the Cleveland Browns defense and defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz's defense. Over 4 years with the Bucs, Tryon-Shoyinka recorded 15 sacks, 135 total pressures, 66 career regular season games, including 45 starts. He also had a sack in 6 playoff games with 1 playoff start. The Browns need to add to their pass rush to alleviate some of the pressures on Myles Garrett, who was the only player since the sack became an official statistic in the 1982 to have 5 consecutive seasons of 14 sacks or more in each of those seasons. Last year, the rest of the Browns, not named Myles Garrett, recorded 27 sacks. 5 of those were by Zadarius Smith before he was traded midseason to the Detroit Lions, 3 of which were from JOK, who was lost for the season in Week 8 with a severe neck injury, and defensive tackle Dalvin Tomlinson, who was told he's being released. So Dalvin Tomlinson had 3 of those sacks as well. Second-year pro Isaiah McGuire appeared to be coming on more of late in the last season with more snaps, finishing with 2.5 sacks. Another promising young player, third-year pro Alex Wright, had a sack and 3 pressures in 4 games before season-ending tricep surgery. So when you look at this, as you can see, there's a effort to get younger. Now, the great thing about this guy is when you look at him, he still has some untapped potential, in my opinion, because when you're playing in a 3-4 scheme, they're not really asking you to do something consistently. They ask you to do a little bit of everything. Hey, let's set the edge as a 5 technique if you need to. You need to be a guy that could drop off into hook zones and some coverages at some point in time. You also need to be an edge rusher. So for me, I think a lot of stuff that he's going to be asked to do in this system is going to be very simplified, and that is to use his athleticism, get upfield, and disrupt things. If you look at his skill set and his body type, he looks the part. He has some playoff, so he's played in the playoffs. He's had some experience level playing for the Buccaneers. They've been a traditionally very good team. They've been a team that has had a lot of depth, and I think it just got left out in the wash. So what I did is I don't try to just do this. I don't try to come on here and just give you, he's going to be automatically great. I try to give you the good and the bad when it comes to some of these players, because sometimes they come from other organizations and I want to hear what the other organizations have to say about the player. They see them up close and personal. So let's first of all get to his draft stuff and what was his analysis coming out when he was drafted. Let me get this here. Here we go. Take a look at this, and we'll get to this right here.
With the 32nd pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Joe Tryon, linebacker, Washington.
Well, as if they don't have enough at that position with Devin White.
That brings us to the conclusion.
And, of course, Levante David. Here's Joe Tryon as the commissioner is wrapping up the evening. What do you think right here, DJ?
Well, he's an intriguing edge rusher. He's one that we didn't see play this year. When you go back to 2019, he's got that big frame coming off the edge, and he can convert speed to power. Was very productive, coach, as you know, in the Pac-12.
Absolutely. He, much like some of the guys have been gone earlier, this guy collapses the pocket on his side. He is big, he is long, he is physical.
So that was a lot of what they talked about. You see him talk about his size. This is during the COVID era. Some people were playing, some people weren't. They referred to his 2019 tape. And at this time, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were coming off a Super Bowl, I believe, in 2020. So when they drafted him, they were drafting from a position of strength. Their linebacker core, Levante David, White, I think they still had Shaq still playing at outside linebacker as well. So that's the good stuff. Everybody likes everybody when they're on draft day. Everybody likes a good kid when they're on draft day because you can just watch their highlight tape. But what has he done? What has he done since then? So let's get to this. This is a
guys,
make sure you go check him out. And this guy, I'm gonna make sure I give his information out. If you want to go follow him at Mr. Bucks Nation, he does a lot of stuff for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's had multiple different things on the internet as far as covering the team. And he kind of gives in this little spiel right here. Make sure you guys check his channel out. Make sure you go subscribe to his channel. It's courtesy of him. Make sure you check this out. But he talks about what exactly got in the way of Tryon-Shoyinka. I'm going to have a tough time saying that. We'll get it together. But what Joe Tryon does well, why he got lost in the mix a little bit, and why he was on the outside looking in terms of why the Buccaneers let him go.
Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and in this video today, we're going to be talking about some pretty strong comments from head coach Todd Bowles regarding outside edge rushing linebacker Joe Tryon-Shoyinka. When Todd Bowles was asked on his thoughts on outside linebacker JTS, Todd Bowles had this to say, quote, "I think Joe did everything right for us except get to the quarterback on a consistent basis." He did say this at the 2025 NFL Combine, by the way. "I thought from a run standpoint, he was fine. From a drop standpoint, he was fine. That means dropping back in coverage. From a toughness standpoint, he was fine. He did everything we asked of him. Obviously, when you think edge rushers, you think get to the quarterback first. And that didn't show up from a double-digit standpoint. And some of it, we dropped differently than normal teams. I do agree with that. And some of it, you have to turn the corner at some point, but just rushing the passer a little bit more will be the only thing. Everything else he did okay." So this, to me, really telegraphs that the Bucs are pretty much going to be moving on from JTS. I mean, look, when I hear the words fine and okay, be it in a relationship or be it, look, man, it just feels like it's never a good thing whenever you hear the words fine and okay. Be it your significant other saying I'm fine or it's okay, it's never fine, it's never okay. But this could possibly be Todd Bowles in just his demeanor. Okay, he might think that the terms fine and okay are interchangeable with maybe a more positive term like good. Okay, that could be one possibility, or it could just be saying, he was all right, he was average, but it definitely gives the impression that the Bucs are going to be looking to upgrade from what they got from JTS, and they're looking for better, I guess, is more of my interpretation of this quote. And look, Bowles was right. JTS only had 2 sacks this year. He had one all the way back in the San Francisco 49ers game. He did not have another one until all the way, in week 1. Okay, so 2 sacks this season is just simply not good enough. It's not. So I do agree with Todd Bowles, and it does sound like that. Hey, didn't come up in a double-digit perspective. Are the Bucs looking for a double-digit pass rusher? We might table that part of the quote and talk about that in a separate video. But folks, look, to say that he was okay, that he was fine in run defense. Look, he had a 51.7 run defense grade. That was 168th out of 211 edge defenders this past season. He actually had a better pass rush grade than run defense. He had a 55.1 pass rush grade. That was 152nd out of 211 edge defenders. So, look, it just seems like this is, to me, I view that quote from Todd Bowles as the final nail in the coffin, right? If there were people who may have said, well, they could still bring him back and maybe he could do some better work, doesn't seem like that's going to be the case.
So, as you can see here, shout out to Mr. Bucks Nation, courtesy of him, with that video, giving you some thought process and some, I guess, analysis as to what he struggles with, right? So I'm not gonna catch me. I'm not gonna come in here and be like, oh, we got, and I'm gonna use his acronym. I like that. JTS. He's coming in here. He got the single-digit number. He looks the part. 6'5", 270. Looks like he's an Under Armour model. Had some ability to get to the quarterback. But I think one of the things that, as I watch him and the limited stuff that I've seen in my few minutes before I got on with you, it just seems like he's a little stiffer as a pass rusher. He really does not have a bunch of counter moves. He does not bend that well on the edge. But one thing that you don't necessarily need to do that much is have that many counter moves when you're in that wide 9 and all they're telling you to do is be disruptive. I think that's one of the things that his body type will help him out. And obviously, if you got a guy like Mike Hall Jr. that's inside, that's able to push the pocket, if you got Myles Garrett and Mike Hall Jr., I mean, come on, man. All you got to do is get on the edge and get in the backfield. He's a solid defender. I think he's one of those guys that you want to see what Jim Schwartz can make of him, right? I would not be surprised. And here's the thing, too. When you're playing a 3-4, that's why I don't like the 3. I'm not a big fan of the 3-4. I played in the 4-3 scheme. I played in a 3-4 scheme where I was head up on the playing the 4-eye technique. I played a 5 technique before. I played all over the defensive front. And the thing I will say about when you're trying to play a 3-4 scheme, 3-4 schemes have you thinking a lot. A lot of times you're two-gapping stuff. You may be asked to drop into coverage. You may be asked to drop and do some zone stuff. And remember, even he said it, and Bowles said, we drop differently than a lot of other teams drop. They drop a little differently. And I think sometimes if you got an edge rusher, and that's the only thing about, when you watch with Abdul Carter, and when you're Abdul Carter and you're a linebacker, because JTS was a linebacker as well, outside linebacker in Washington. When these guys come in, and he's 270 something, Abdul Carter is 250-ish somewhere. This is the first year he played full-time defensive end, so there's going to be still some things that you see that you haven't seen in college, right? And when you're trying to learn the different defensive end position and you're kind of bouncing between a guy that's playing in space or a guy that's putting his hand in the ground, sometimes that can stunt your growth a little bit. So maybe, just maybe, this is a depth piece that they're looking to get. He's going to go in that rotation with McGuire. He's going to go with in that rotation with Alex Wright. He's going to be in the rotation. Those 3 guys, if you can get 11 sacks, 12 sacks from those 3 guys, you'll take it, because that means you got about 12 sacks. If you get 4 sacks apiece from McGuire, Wright, and JTS, you'll take that. It could be along with what Myles Garrett is going to give you, and Mike Hall Jr. in terms of the pass rush. Let me read this really quickly. Then we'll get to your comments and we'll get back to it. Coming up, we'll get back to your comments. We'll talk about some of the things that we got to a little bit earlier. If you were watching UCSS, Cornelius Lucas, a depth piece, a tackle. We signed him, yesterday, about 18 hours ago now. We signed him. We'll tell you about what we learned about him, and then some intriguing information about Nick Chubb, all coming up right here on the Ultimate Browns. Make sure you're checking out Ultimate Cavaliers. Cavs still rolling. 14-game winning streak. Well, let's see how much we can get that. Mikey McNuggets is breaking it down. Jason Lloyd will be back in the city pretty soon. But if you want your fix, you want your fix of the Cleveland Cavaliers, you got to watch Ultimate Cavaliers, the best basketball content in the land. Oh, by the way, Earl the Pearl is back. By the way, he's dropping joints, man. We got my man Cecil Shorts over there too. Ultimate 216. Make sure you go check out their latest episode, Mix of Sports and Culture, and you can get right to that right here by subscribing to the UCSS network. All right, we back at it again. This is a little bit of a weird format, but what we try to do is we try to give you the breaking news as it happens, right? I usually go at 5 o'clock, but listen, right now, news is breaking. We got a couple of guys. We want to give you a recap on the guys like Cornelius Lucas. We got Kenny Pickett last night. And then we got JTS, Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, edge rusher from Tampa Bay, former first-round pick. He is a guy that we definitely got to in the first segment. Let's get to your thoughts on JTS. Do you think this is going to be something that is going to be a guy that he's going to get a rotational piece? Or do you believe that this guy is going to, have an opportunity to show something in the 2025 season? Because I tell you what, the first 2 guys I think were depth pieces. This is the first one I'm intrigued about that could actually possibly do something. Let's get to some of your comments here. Blackwater, let's go. I finally caught a live, man. I appreciate you, man. Rob says low risk, medium reward. It helps to play next to Myles Garrett. That's the thing I'm looking at. It always helps to play next to Myles Garrett. That's the thing that, you know, and this is the reason why a lot of people, and I'm glad we back to football. I think we was getting into the tabloid stuff. What did Myles want? Why did Myles want it? Did he only want the money? Listen, let me tell you something. When you get back down to talking about football, this is the reason why Myles Garrett is important on your team. Because now, since you have Myles Garrett over there chilling out, you're playing next to one of the greatest dudes to ever do it. You're never getting double teamed. You're never getting double teamed. Listen, it make me feel good about my little limited ability to get to the quarterback today, which I have none. But if it make you feel like you could get something off if you got Myles on the other side. So these moves, it automatically enhances these. It's low risk, medium reward, like you said. If this guy gets 8 sacks, all of a sudden, we love it. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Maybe not as a linebacker. I might fit as an edge. Definitely an edge rusher. DeAndre Black said we bargain shopping. That's what hey, listen, by the way, they could have done worse. You know the Browns don't got no money. They just released Dalvin Thomas, and when they gonna cut that, by the way. This is also says a lot to, I think the Browns is trying to get a little more athletic up front. They want somebody that can do a little bit of both. Dalvin Tomlinson, for what the money was worth, it's hard to pay that type of money for just a guy that's going to stop the run. We talked about that on UCSS. I think this is a move that shows that they want to get a little more athletic, maybe stop the run and still give you some ability to rush the passer. Let's keep going. Pickett, right? Yeah, yeah. Nah. That ain't it. Hey, let's see. Let me see. Graham Houston said, Browns trying to make sure that they are the worst team in the NFL next season. Let's see. I actually think they may have something in Pickett. Hey, listen, I said this earlier. I think what the Cleveland Browns is trying to do in terms of the Pickett signing, I think they're flipping over the room. I think they're just trying to get new energy in the quarterback room. Pickett is a former first-round pick. I don't think he's going to be anything of any sorts. I mean, he's going to be a guy that's going to be in there. He's going to learn the playbook. He's not going to say nothing out of pocket. He's going to toe the line. And I think right now, what's the name? What Kevin Stefanski is trying to do is he's trying to take back his room. Even when you had Jameis Winston, who was very outspoken, when you have Deshaun Watson, who has been documented going back and forth, you've had Baker Mayfield, who was, he was a big personality. I think Kevin Stefanski, really what he want to do, give me Kenny Pickett. We'll take that. Let me go get Kirk Cousins. By the way, they say Kirk Cousins could possibly be your quarterback, according to Zach Jackson of The Athletic. They could have Kirk Cousins by this weekend. And people say, well, I'm not excited about Kirk Cousins. Nah, I think they're doing exactly what they wanted to do. They're not trying to be exciting. They're trying to be as plain as possible. They're going to run this football. They're going to keep it close to the vest. Kevin Stefanski is going to run that offense. He don't want no talking out of turn. He don't want none of that. They're going to get them 2 quarterbacks. And 2 quarterbacks, they got Pickett. And if they do go get, Kirk Cousins, that's what it is. And by the way, they're still drafting a quarterback. They're still drafting a quarterback. Stop playing around. I know there's some my dual Carter people out there, but if they're going to spend $4 million on the edge rusher, you already got Alex McGuire. You already got no. Don't get it twisted. Abdul Carter is better than these guys, but I don't think they would be spending that level of money if they were going to draft the guys 2 overall. I would say I would say Travis Hunter is more in play than that. Just my thought. 15 sacks while being switched around is promising. Yes, sir, Mitchell Metz. That's exactly what I was thinking about. Let me see. Let me get to a couple more. and then we'll get to some of the other stuff. Let's see. There we go. Ethan, what's up, man? Solid rotational asset, low key. Cole could take Abo's job. Hey, see, this is what we see. This one, that's a nice football tape. Obo to me didn't do nothing last year. He didn't do. Listen, he's not good enough to be a rotational guy. Who? What rotation y'all got? Obo Akaranko didn't do nothing for me last year at all. I like Alex Wright. I like McGuire. I think Isaiah Thomas will probably still be back on the roster, but this guy's, listen, if they just signed him and it's the only little piece of money that they got, he's going to be a rotational guy. I'm going to let you know that right now. Let's see. Let's get to this. By the way, 485 people in here. Make sure you hit the like button. Hit the like button for your boy. It's free. It don't cost you nothing. And this is the best place to get your Browns update from. We appreciate y'all out there. Let's talk about this a little bit. This happened, yesterday? Yeah, it happened yesterday. Let's get to the Cornelius Lucas signing. They took a stab at grabbing what I would call a more of a swing offensive lineman. Big size, 33-year-old, 6'8", weighs 327. Definitely make him a towering presence along Cleveland's offensive line. Lucas played in 14 games, made 7 starts for the Commanders in 2024, and was very effective, registering a 74.1 overall grade at Pro Football Focus. He also posted a 79.1 pass blocking grade as well. The Kansas State product went undrafted, but eventually landed with the Lions in 2014, where he spent 3 seasons of his NFL career, mainly serving as a backup role after his tenure with the Lions. He bounced around quite a bit for a few years, playing for the Rams, Saints, Bears, and now he will be with your Cleveland Browns. I think this is another nice regular death piece move. This is hoping that DeJuan Jones is going to be the guy on the outside. I think they will not pick a lineman earlier than the 4th round. I think this is something that they wanted to do in terms of having a bigger frame as James Hudson moved on. I didn't. James Hudson was not. He just wasn't good, bro. James Hudson wasn't it. So, as you can see right now, 6'8", 327. The Cleveland Browns, if they want to get back to running the football, one of the things that they're going to have to do is, hey, if you want to get back to running that football, first and foremost, reinvest in larger style offensive linemen. I need another bigger tight end to go with the 12 personnel. Hey, Kyle Juszczyk is out there. I need a fullback. Kevin, we need a fullback if we're going to run that playbook. we need another big boy tight end, and we need a fullback if you're going to run it. And it's great because you can find a lot of different backs in this class, man. You can get, we talked to Charles Davis earlier today. He said he can find himself with 3 first-round picks at running back. Oh, and by the way I'm setting this thing up, the way I'm kicking this knowledge, there's a chance that Nick Chubb is back in this rotation as well. So this is more of a death piece. I think the Browns are still high on Luke Whippler, the center out of Ohio State. Unfortunately, he got hurt the first preseason game. Zach Zenner is 1 year into the training program. Hopefully he's put on some strength. Did not look that well, but he was a rookie, forced into playing. But at some point you got to hit on those picks. And Andrew Berry invested some draft capital in the center, in one of those guards. So I want to see what they're talking about. So this is a guy that could probably play across the line. I would expect Jack Conklin to be starting on right tackle. I expect DeJuan Jones to be ready to go at left tackle. You got Joe Bitonio, who's come back. Ethan Poches needs to have a bounce back year, and Wyatt Teller. Let's get it going. So the whole band is back. We just hope for improvement from those guys. and a little bit of health. So, that's where I was with this move. When we get back, no, we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. We want to go to your thoughts. Your thoughts on Cornelius Lucas. Do you believe in the chat? You can count on DeJuan Jones and Jack Conklin staying healthy. I think this is a make or break year for DeJuan Jones. He's a later round pick, so he's only on contract for 4 years. Do you believe or you trust in the fact that you can get DeJuan Jones to be able to play the way he is capable of playing and stay healthy for the entire year? Obviously, Jack Conklin has been injury prone as well. And what do you expect from the offensive line? What do you expect from the O-line when it comes to this as well? Let's get to some of your comments. All right, here we go. Arnell Scott, they have to. I think that's referring to they got to trust DeJuan Jones because, they don't really got another choice. Jed Wills is another guy who is out the door. So, that they only got a choice to take up and really hope DeJuan Jones is what we thought he was. Another Kenny Pickett. Honestly, the way I see it, Kenny Pickett is a solid backup quarterback, and we need that DTR was not in the we knew that DTR was not an option at all anymore on this team, and there was always an excuse of him never being prepared. Listen, after I saw with DTR, when he got a shot, DTR just, and there's no disrespect, I just didn't think he was a starting or backup NFL caliber, quarterback. I thought he threw it in traffic a lot. I thought he was he's reckless when he runs. He's very slight of build. It was hard for him to finish games. I mean, he had a very strong arm, and I just wanted to see some of that experience in college translate over a little bit more. Like, if you played that many years at UCLA, I was hoping that some of that would translate into being smarter with the way you run and getting out of bounds and doing some things. But, he has talent. Don't get it twisted. It's just I think he has to be in the right system, and playing out of structure for him got him in trouble a little bit. Let me see. Get a couple more of these. So Team Money for 20 says Mac Jones is light years ahead of Kenny Pickett. So here's the thing. Again, I don't necessarily believe that the totality of what Kevin Stefanski is looking for in a quarterback is based all on talent. Because if it was that, he could have simply brought Jameis Winston back because he could throw the ball like crazy. Joe Flacco could throw the ball like crazy. I just feel that Kevin Stefanski, he wanted a new feeling in that quarterback room. Like you got to think about it. Joe Flacco is a quarterback that still feels he could start. I asked him point blank myself, you think you went on the best 32 quarterbacks? He said, of course. He also said he's not that much of a mentor. Jameis Winston wants an opportunity to be a starter in this league, right? There's a lot of guys that are younger that want the opportunity to get what Sam Darnold got, that big deal. They get with that Justin Fields, the third team, and still can be a quarterback, the Geno Smith turnaround story. A lot of people want that. But, sometimes it's better to have a guy that already know what it is, that understands his role, that understands where he wants to go. Not saying that Pickett is that guy. I mean, he does have some championship pedigree. He did learn, in a system with a team that was successful in Philadelphia. I don't, by any means, stretch of imagination, they told Kenny Pickett he's coming here to compete. That ain't what it is. Please take Carter, then take Miro. Please, Jesus. I don't believe they're going to take Carter. I think the Titans probably will take him, which is kind of a weird scenario because now you're down to Cam Ward. I would take Cam Ward over Shedeur Sanders, but I'm comfortable with either or. I'm comfortable with either or. Let's get one more before we get out of here. and get to the next one. Let's see. Let me see. Tempe 1D. I have the receipts of G. Bush saying DTR. Remember that G? He swore he was going to be at least a backup. Like, even said Jameis is the guy. Here's what I'll say. DTR showed a little something in preseason. I never said DTR was the starting quarterback. No. That wasn't me. If you got the receipts, you also know that I told you when it got down to Joe Flacco and PJ Walker, you need to bring Flacco in off the street, and he's starting over DTR. That was me too. And Jameis Winston had a couple of good weeks. Like, look, at the end of the day, I said Deshaun Watson should get 4,500. Did he get 4,500? Nah, it's on to the next one. What are you talking about? Hey, y'all try to hold me accountable more than you hold Andrew Berry accountable. He the one drafted him. I never said go to the podium with DTR. I didn't tell him to give no guaranteed money. Out of here, bro. Now, I will say this. They will draft a quarterback this year, and hopefully he does his thing. Let me get to this. This was an interesting story right here. Very interesting story. Let's get to this. Before we do, let me throw this up here. Before we do that, make sure you check it out. G. Bush on the Barbershop. Make sure you're checking this out on the Barbershop. Saturdays, 9 a.m. Eastern, man. So make sure, wake up, get you some coffee. G. Bush, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. right here on the UCSS Network. We give you some topics, some stories from all across the week. We give you a lot of thought-provoking conversation. It's almost like having a radio show on television, right? A little more of a longer format. We get to talk to one another, hang out a little bit. Make sure you check it out. The numbers have been tremendous over there. You can find the Barbershop right here, or you can find it on my channel, The Barbershop. It's on YouTube, Facebook, all over the place. So we appreciate you. Make sure you drop a dime and check in on us and subscribe to the channel so you know when we are going live. All right, so we back at it. Let's get to this. Let's get to Nick Chubb. And a lot of people like myself have been wanting Nick Chubb to come back. And right now, through the first few days of free agency, Nick Chubb's name has not been mentioned. So right now, it looks like he's not going to be signed for huge money. This is I laughed at the end of the show, right? Because somebody was trying to explain in the super chat what they meant by the 4-year whatever. So I took the liberty to go out and look exactly what you were talking about. And here we go. I found it. So according to Jack Duffin, this is, if the Browns want to re-sign Chubb, it's likely on a 4-year qualifying contract. As I read the rules, he has to be a free agent to do this. If he can get more than $3 million elsewhere, good luck to him. Now, I was like, all right, that's a little vague. What does he talk about with just $3 million? And then we added this. So this was on Dogs Nation as well. And he talks about some of the same things. As such, they believe that Chubb will leave if any other team is willing to offer him more than $3 million per season. The $4 million qualified offers of kind of a contract given to players with at least 4 credited NFL seasons. However, the difference is also allows teams to incur a salary cap charge for players with just 2 years of accrued services. So that will significantly alleviate Chubb's cap hit. Teams are allowed to use these contracts on 2 eligible players per season, and the Browns could take this route with their veteran running back. Of course, that's provided Nick Chubb gets an appealing offer or doesn't get an appealing offer from somewhere else. Chubb is being tied to multiple teams, including the Pittsburgh Steelers. So that's what he was talking about a little bit of the salary cap and, gymnastics there. So basically Chubb is going out to the rest of the into the market. And, if he gets, say, $3 million a year on a deal, he may look to sign with those guys. But if not, he can come back and the Browns can do something where they are able to sign him, but alleviate a portion of that for their cap. So it doesn't really affect their cap as much as it would if he was not one of those players that fit into that category. So shout out to you. That was a very interesting little piece that we talked about on UCSS. And that was just something I went to go look for because I was like, man, I'm confused what he was trying to say. So shout out to you, whoever I get what you're saying now. And it looks like after one day of free agency, Nick Chubb could be still on the board for the Cleveland Browns to bring back. I would love to do that. I think a lot of people would love to do that, bring Nick Chubb back into just really get back into the fold of, okay, now we'll got Chubb. We can maybe go and get another running back because it's a deep running back class, do things like that. So really quickly, is there any, we'll throw it out there and we'll get to you guys. Super chats are available for a wrap up. Throw one more question out to you guys. What has anything in a free agency changed the way you think about what the Browns should do in the draft? So in the chat, throw in after this, few free agent drafts, who do you think the Browns will take it to? We'll just leave it at that. Who do you think the Browns will take it to based on what you've seen so far in free agency? For me, I still think that the Browns, either way it goes, will stay at number 2 and take either Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders. I think that's where they'll go. Despite Kenny Pickett, despite you might have Kirk Cousins by the end of the weekend, I still think quarterback is the big issue, and I think quarterback is where that pick will be taking place at. So throw it in the chat, and we'll get to you guys and get your thoughts. Who are they taking that to based on what we've seen? Let's see what we got. Colin Peter says they'll take Shedeur at pick number 2. Bruce says they will not take a quarterback. Consuela says bring back Flacco, draft Dart. DDG says no draft Shedeur. Browns are going 3-14. Browns are taking Ward. Barry fails us again. Yusuf, QB for sure. We got a Travis and a Shedeur Sanders, Cam Ward. Got a trade 5 and 6 and go for Milton. Quarterback. Let's see. If they don't go for Sanders or Ward, what do you think of taking Carter at 2, trading up for 33 to draft the quarterback? That's one of the things that I think when it's been a traditional thing around that we've been talking about. If they don't go for Ward or Sanders, and you take Carter at 2 and you trade back up to get a Jackson Dart, but I think Jackson Dart is going in the top 15. So you got to be aggressive. Cam or Travis? Bruce says he wants Milroe, the next Lamar Jackson. Vontez Mack. We got to that one. Shedeur, he fits Kevin's system. That's what we need. Kevin doesn't need to get fancy. Just do him at 2. Okay. Shedeur. Okay. Shedeur unless Cam is available. Carter or trade down. Should draft Shedeur but won't. Carter is injury prone. And last but not least, we got one more. Trade back. So we'll trade back. Well, we're going to see, man. If anything pops up, for the rest of the day, for the rest of the night, for the rest of the weekend, make sure you keep it locked to UCSS, because this is where we're going to break. We might jump on at 1, we might jump on at 5, we might jump on at 6, but we will give you the breakdown of what's going on free agency-wise. With that being said, we appreciate everybody for coming into the Ultimate Browns / UCSS Breaking News Show. And like we said before, if we get anything else, we will bring it to you live and direct right here on the UCSS channel. With that being said, you never know when your boy G. Bush is going to show up. Radio, television, internet. But if you want the fresh cut on sports, I'm the guy. The Barbershop is always in the building. Have a good rest of your evening. And as always, go Browns.